Anyway, how you doing?
All right. Yeah.
Bit weary.
Yeah. It's just been a busy day, so I'm back at work now.
Oh, yeah, out externally.
Yeah. So I had to go back at work last week. So I've been working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then working on the house Thursday, Friday.
Right.
So I've been off work for about 6-7 months.
Yeah, getting the bones of it done.
Yeah. So it's been a bit of a shock to the system going back to work.
God, bet it has.
But you got to go back to it, haven't you? So I've been mainly milking pigs and mucking out lepers.
What can I hear trickling? Is someone having a piss in the background?
No. So where I'm sitting, it used to be the outside here.
Oh yeah.
So over there, no, is that the wrong corner? Over there, that white pipe in the corner. That's that's the outlet pipe for the bath and the shower.
So that just comes directly into that room and it's sloshing around your feet, is it?
Yeah, it's like having a foot bath. But I'm going to box all that in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But you'll still hear like a trickling sound. It's going to still have a water feature effect.
Are you going to box it in at that angle, or are you going to straighten it up first? It's very diagonal.
Well, I thought instead of straightening out the pipe, I'll just make the box bigger. Well, it's just where the cat litter tray is. So I'm thinking I should have the pipe running through the cat litter tray so it constantly washes it through.
Yeah, like panning for Tods.
Yeah.
There's gold in every scoop. Did you say you'd been to some sort of recital? Some sort of child's musical event?
Oh, last night, yeah. It was Alana's summer concert. So Alana drums in a band, and the band did it's off the Dreams album, Fleetwood Mac. The Cause covered it. Thunder only happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, so she did that. But there was a million other acts, and we had a programme. And some are really good.
Well, I think everyone's prepared to sit through their own kids. I think that's the bare minimum, isn't it, if you're a parent? But it's just everybody else's that you've got to sit through that everyone seems to struggle with.
Some were great. Some piano recitals, some singing recital. But there's always some teacher that wants to do like a bit of an out there concept. And they did it like a calypso song using a quartet of violins. And you can imagine the standard. Yeah. I couldn't stop laughing. I had to really sort of hold myself.
Sound like the school band in The Simpsons.
It sounded like something Vic and Bob would have come up with. It was just terrible.
Someone kicking a violin quartet down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, but while there were some sort of steel drum calypso vibes in the background.
Okay. Well done.
But it was good. It was good. There was one guy called Hamish, and he had an accordion, and he had his sister up there playing some sort of traditional sort of old, like bit like a banjo, but a bit more oldie worldy.
Yeah.
He did about 3 songs, and every time you just thought everyone was sort of getting ready to clap because he'd finally finished, he'd go into like an extra verse where he'd go up a key change. It was like, fucking hell. It felt like I'd been on a Munster night out. We'd only been out till about 9:30. But when we got in, we were like, oh, it's like we've been on holiday, Well, how about you? What you been up to?
Not a lot. It's getting warm again, isn't it? After the heat wave fucked off, finally.
Yeah.
Then we got a few weeks of rain. The garden's gone mental. And it's getting hot again now.
Yeah, it's getting a bit muggy, isn't it? This time last year was that really hot 40-degree day.
Was it?
Yeah.
I spoke to one of my mates back home when the heat wave was on, and he said that on Walney Island it got up to 8 degrees. He's not always to be trusted, this guy, so he could just be giving it large. But yeah, it's 8 degrees, he said. He said the kids at Vickerstown Primary, they all went fucking mad, and they dragged all the crash mats up onto the roof and set fire to them. They're not used to heat like that up there.
No, it sends people wild, doesn't it? But, the old people, they'll still keep those coats on as they go up to the co-op in the afternoon. And then they
the zip boots.
Yeah, and then the fire brigade get called and have to sort of cut them out of these massive thermal jackets. You know what I mean?
Like a battered cod that you get in that plastic packet. All sweaty. Yeah. Not battered cod, cod in
boil in the bag.
Boil in the bag, yeah.
Yeah, what up to them?
Sweaty fish. Yeah, I sent you that video, didn't I, Graham Roberts, on the Krypton factor.
Yes, yeah. And do you know what? Those 4 contestants, so part of the Krypton factor was that they had to come up with a witty 30-second piece, didn't
Just
they?
it was a bit, wasn't it? You had to come up with a
Yeah.
bit, like they call it in
And they,
America. I don't think they kept that round in it for long. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a goer.
the host said they'd been given the details of this 30-second clip like the night before, and they'd had all night and, like a good 12 hours to come up with
This 30-second thing.
what they'd come up with, yeah.
Anyone who's not seen it, they went over to the 4 people to do their little 30-minute entertaining presentation, and the first guy was a chap called Graham Roberts, who launched into this based on a holiday. It wasn't a fictional holiday, and his was spend a week in Uganda or something, and he launched into this. I don't even know how best to describe it.
A colonial accent?
Yeah, something that you thought might have been okay in the 1970s. I just had this picture in my head of him going first and doing his, and then watching everybody else and slowly realising that not everybody had chosen to go down the racist route. Like the one guy who turns up to the party in fancy dress and watches everyone else arrive in the normal clothes. But we were talking about it on Twitter. I thought it'd be good to try and get in touch with him. I thought we could get him on the podcast, and I tracked him down anyway.
Yeah.
I gave him a ring, and he picked the phone up and went, "Hello."
So that was his natural voice.
That was the thing. That was his normal voice. I felt a bit bad for him in the end. He said life went a bit downhill after the Krypton fact.
See, he started off.
I thought we won't mention it. I've sent him some cuppa soups anyway.
He started off in that Central African accent, but I said to you, it definitely wavered into a Northeast Geordie at times, which was strange. How it managed to waver within 30 seconds.
I loved the fact it went very factual at the end, and he said it's the only place where you can get a direct flight to Tel Aviv.
I know. Why he said that?
What the fuck?
He was obviously having to pan out those 30 seconds.
Yeah. But the quizzes that they used to have on, the presenters used to have a sort of air of authority, didn't they? It's all celebrities and actors and stuff doing them now.
Yeah.
I think that quizzes definitely used to be better. I think the focus is aimed on fun these days, where it used to actually be more challenging.
Yeah. Was it William? It's not William G. Stewart, is it?
Yeah, he did 15-1, didn't he?
15-1, yeah, that's it. Oh, I watched the second person who went on to do the 30-second monologue.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see it? And her little...
It was a woman talking about going to the underworld, wasn't it?
She says, why don't I come to the underworld where you never have to put the heating on, that sort of thing. So you've gone from like a racist Ugandan accent to some sort of satanic worship. I didn't stick around to see what 3 and...
I used to like, do you remember Bamboozle on teletext?
Yeah, with the yellow guy.
With the little yellow weird...
Yeah.
Bamboozle he was called. He was like a little jaundiced guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Bambo was a popular regional presenter in the 80s, but he was a terrible drunk. And he got taken off when he got absolutely smashed and said something inappropriate to Princess Margaret at the Royal Variety performance.
Could have happened,
but he had too much dirt on everybody, so they couldn't sack him. So what they said is, what we'll do is we'll make a state-of-the-art digital version of you. Think Max Headroom. It's going to blow your mind.
The only trouble with that is if you got a question wrong, you had to go right back to the start.
Yeah.
And answer all the questions.
All the same questions.
Yeah. And quite often, if you're a bit pissed, you'd forget the answers to some of them, even if you got them right, and then have to go back to the start again. You know what I mean?
But in the early 90s, it was either that or PGA Golf on the Mega Drive. So it was you were very limited in your technology back then.
I had the Atari with the tennis game and the bouncing balls.
Oh, with a wooden front?
Yeah. It was like the dashboard of a Datsun Sunny.
Yeah, like a Morris Minor or something, wasn't it? It had an air of luxury about it that just disappeared as soon as you switched it on and looked at what you were playing.
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't keep wood on top of, consoles and keyboards. There's nothing wrong with wood being heated up to 100 degrees, is there? Right.
Yeah. What are we talking about first?
Oh, first is a film called Sisu.
Sisu.
Sisu, it's a Finnish film. I think it's Finnish language, isn't it? I think I remember watching it in subtitles.
No, it's English for 90% of it, and then there's just a little bit of Finnish at the end.
Oh. So Sisu is based in occupied Finland at the end of the Second World War, and it's a lone man with his dog who discovers a huge piece of gold and needs to get this big chunk of gold to the other side of the country to a bank to cash it in. But in his way are a number of Nazis, Germans. Now, this is from the same production company that made John Wick.
Oh, I remember you saying that. I've not seen John Wick.
Yeah, I've seen some of them. John Wick 4's just come out, and John Wick 4, I've been told, is about 3 hours long, which, you have to sort of question whether you've got 3 hours in you to watch a film like that.
Especially when it's the fourth instalment, so you've tallied up probably sort of 14 hours already.
Yeah, yeah. But this sort of follows it in a similar vein. A bit, Sisu is a little bit like John Wick, a little bit like, you remember that film The Nobody, the guy from Better Call Saul on?
Oh, yeah.
It's that type of one man, against the world. And in this case, this is one gold digger against Nazis. And of course, like a lot of films, Nazis and zombies can be killed and destroyed in hilariously violent ways.
Yeah.
And it's okay because, they're seen as the pinnacle of evil, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's got these... the amount of gold he's found tons of it, and he's got saddlebags and bags of gold. And he looks like he's dug up half of Finland, doesn't he? Because there's all the pits where he's been, and he finally hits the jackpot, and he's fantastic. All I've got to do now is, you assume he's taking it to a bank or somewhere. All I've got to do is get there. But of course, the Nazis are on the back foot, aren't they? And what they're doing is they're salting the earth. They're just absolutely burning everything, every village they come across, just destroying the country before they get out of it. And he runs into this Nazi platoon, and they just ruin his day, don't they? They ruin his plans to getting his gold to the bank. So he gets fairly cross with them.
Yeah. This film is only an hour and a half long, and that's all it needs to be. Like, there's not a complicated narrative. We've already described it, haven't we? Yeah. Like, when you start watching this film, you know what it's going to be like in a way, but you're happy to join him for the ride. And some of the scenes in it, like there's one where he jumps in the lake and they send people after him, and he's under this water and he slowly starts picking people up. Or there's one where he throws a landmine and it explodes in someone's face. I think that's one of my favourite scenes.
They're incredibly creative, the methods, given when it's set and there's limited weapons and things around, and he's got to get creative. But the Nazis, they've got a truck, they've got a convoy, haven't they, these Nazis, and there's a truck that's full of Finnish women, prisoners of war, and they tell the story of who they think this guy is, because eventually the Nazis start getting picked off, and the women in this van are talking about, do you think it's this guy that there's a legend about? Because he was in a war in Russia, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a war against the Russians, wasn't he? And
is it called the Winter War or something like that?
Yeah, and the Russians sort of gave him some sort of legendary status as well.
Yeah, the Russians killed his family, I think, and he just became a one-man death squad, and he's rumoured to be immortal. And I don't think by the end of it they never go into details about whether he is. And I think by the end of it you think he's not immortal, you just can't kill him.
Yeah,
and they have a really good go. There's a scene where it kind of goes, right, hold my beer. If you think it's been fucking crackers so far, and he's in an aeroplane, and there's your traditional plane fight where they're knocking 10 bells out of each other. Bad guy gets chucked off the plane, but the plane's heading towards the deck. There's no parachute, so he's just basically got to try and grab some straps, wrap them round himself, and brace for the impact of this plane. And you think, usually when you see a plane crashing in films or TV, you see the angle it comes in at and you start weighing up, is anyone going to survive this? Is it likely? It shows you this plane hit the deck and it just comes straight down at 90 degrees and straight down like a pickaxe, done it into the ground, fucking bang.
Into the mud, yeah.
And you think, that's it in a nutshell.
It's quite Tarantino-ish, isn't it? In the way that it's split into chapters, isn't it? And it's got that.
Yeah.
You know how Tarantino almost makes his films into sort of they have sort of Western feels to them as well. And but yeah, there's definitely copies of that.
I thought that as well. There's this thing that's sort of post Tarantino that a lot of films have done since, where the chapters, they come up on the screen in massive letters, don't they?
Yeah.
That's been something from like the last 20 years that filmmakers have used, and they've done it to death. But this film's so good, you don't care, do you?
Oh no! It sort of adds to it, and it gives you a glimpse. It gives you a glimpse of what, like, my brother-in-law lives in Finland, and I had no idea what the country looks like. And there's some great shots of it as he's trekking back across to get to this bank to unload this gold. Oh, it reminded me a little bit of. Have you ever seen The Ballad of Buster Suggs? It's a Coen Brothers film.
No, it's one that I haven't seen.
It's a number of sort of separate stories.
Yeah,
really good. But one of them is an old gold digger. And he has to he finds a big piece of gold, and he has to sort of fight his way to keep hold of it.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, loosely reminded me a little bit of that. But The Ballad of Buster Suggs, if you like Coen Brother films, and the Coen Brothers are in love with like the Midwest in America, and it's 4 or 5 of these miniature little stories. But it's bizarre, totally fucking bizarre, but really good.
I might have a look at that later. Karen's away tonight. She's at Spa with her mum, so I'm going to stick a film on and eat a big pile of chips, I think.
Perfect. That could be one for you because it's different stories. Like if you say, for example, you're not over keen on one of them, then it will end and the next one will come on.
At least you're not sat there forever.
There's a few actors you'll recognise from Oh Brother Where Art Thou as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, the main guy is one of the Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I can't think of his name.
Yeah,
but he's in all sorts these days.
But Sisu, I definitely recommend Sisu. It's a guy.
Oh, it's a
knocking fuck out of Nazis.
It's got that kind of joyous Nazi bashing, like in almost like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
It's like they're not people, so they can be dispatched as as gleefully as he wants. But yeah, definitely worth a look. That's on Amazon, isn't it now?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, next up, we're going to talk about The Offer.
Oh, yeah.
The Offer is the story of how The Godfather was made, told through the eyes of the guy who produced it, who was a guy called Albert Ruddy. He wrote a famous book about how difficult it was to make the Godfather the film, and how much real life mafia involvement there was, because it was quite hairy for him, wasn't it, getting it made? The
Godfather came from a book, didn't it? A very successful book.
Yeah, the guy who wrote the book was called Mario Puzo.
Mario Puzo. Very, very, very successful book. And the actual real mafia based in New York didn't like how they were depicted.
Being portrayed, yeah.
Yeah, and of course linked to the mafia in New York at the time was Frank Sinatra. And he obsessively thought that a singer in The Godfather was supposed to be him, wasn't it? A drunk and, sort of a bit of an idiot singer. So he was involved as well. Yeah, I'm up to about the 5th or 6th one. And it was the way that the director of the film managed to get the actual mafia, or he was attempting to get...
Yeah. As soon as they were absolutely dead against it, but as soon as they realised that they could make a few quid out of it, they came around, because it's all just business, isn't it?
Yeah, and the director and the writer of the book, they made a strong case for saying, look, this is not just about the mafia, this is about family, about this. Yeah, and this is about how the American government are constantly sort of putting American Italians down and trying to keep them subdued. So this is a book that about you rising up and, getting stronger and having power and so on. But, they do take a lot of convincing at the start.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely pull them round. By the end, they have... I don't think they tell them it's a separate premiere, because of course, all the mob bosses want to come to the premiere, which... you can't really have that. So I think what he actually did was they had the main premiere, and he actually staged a second premiere that he let all the gangsters come to. Right. And they were all sat there in tears by the end of it, and clapping and standing and cheering.
Well, the actors that they got to play Marlon Brando.
Oh, he's great, isn't he?
Pacino. The Marlon Brando one was scary. How good he was.
Where he does that thing in the mirror and he shouts his maid and says, "Get us some boot polish," and he just draws a little moustache on himself.
Yeah, and slicks his hair back
and goes into character.
Yeah, he was really sort of like they said that he held the room, didn't he? He was quite an intimidating guy, but he was notoriously a pain in the arse already, didn't they? And they do lots.
Apocalypse Now came later, and I was sure that by the end of them making The Godfather, that Francis Ford Coppola had said he wouldn't work with Brando again. So he must have had a few years to cool off. But the thing is, I believe that Brando was even worse on the set of Apocalypse Now than he was in The Offer.
Right.
So it's not like you think, give someone another chance. And you know what? The second time, they were no problem. No, he was even fucking worse.
But the guy who plays he doesn't own Paramount, does he? But he's one of the top guys there. Is it Bob Evans, his name?
That's who I've got him written down here to highlight. He's a British actor called Matthew Goode, who's always a bit beige in things, I think. I don't think he really shines. But this is the thing.
Does in this.
This is the thing he's waited his entire life to play. He's fucking great, isn't he?
I'm sure if you saw footage of the real Bob Evans, he'd got him down to a T.
Yeah.
He's really smooth Hollywood producer type, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's all real quick sort of banter as well, isn't it, with him? You know what I mean?
He's a bit of a mess of a man, isn't he? But he's have you got to the stuff with him, his wife running off with Steve McQueen yet?
Not yet.
I mean, there's the main story of The Godfather, but there's so much other fucking shit that went on.
Yeah,
it's just a fascinating story.
Obviously, it's a program about how they made The Godfather, but the program that offer, it almost feels like a film, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hang on, I might have to move room.
Someone's using the toilet again.
Someone having a shower.
He's on the move, folks.
I'll have to box that in. It's a good job you're good at editing.
I'm keeping all this in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. They're hour-long episodes, but it has got to feel like an actual film itself, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Really classy, really believable characters. And I think if you're interested in film and how our films made in the 70s, when Francis Ford Coppola and the writer of the book hold themselves up in that house to do the screenplay, they're writing it on a fucking typewriter, aren't they?
Yeah.
Physically on a typewriter with the mistakes, can't just delete backspace a second. You see him ripping up quite a few pages, like fucking hell, and then having to start again and stuff, aren't they?
And they're bitching like an old couple, aren't they, the pair of them?
Yeah.
Did you eat my ham sandwich out the fridge?
No, he goes, you ate it, I watched you eat it.
The main thing I took away from it was, I know in the time it was absolutely groundbreaking, The Godfather, because there was nothing else like it. But I thought the series about them making The Godfather ended up being better than the film The Godfather.
Yeah, and it's one of those rare films where it's quite often cited that the second one was as good or if not better than the first.
Yeah.
Like, only The Godfather Part 2 and say Aliens. You know what I mean? But it's strange.
Nutty Professor.
Of course, I knew I'd miss one out.
Godfather 2, Meet the Clumps.
Street Dance. But I read a really good book about how they made Jaws, and that could be made into a film. That was such a brilliant book.
Yeah.
And so many world-class and well-known directors have said that if they're having a really shitty, it was on the back of this book, if they're having a really shitty day at work trying to direct a film, they come back and read a bit of this book and think, at least we're not trying to make a film on the fucking ocean with a big mechanical rubber shark, which is what Spielberg was trying to do in that first. Yeah, and of course the two characters, Richard Dreyfuss's character and the old salty sea dog, Quint, was it?
Yeah, they couldn't stand each other, could they?
They genuinely fucking hated each other. Like, Quint thought that Dreyfuss was some sort of like college, la-di-da upstart.
Yeah.
And Dreyfuss just thought Quint was a fucking drunk. Yeah, and you got that. That's probably what made the film really good. Right.
The Offer, which is on, I think it's on HBO and Sky TV, Now TV. It's either that or it's on Amazon. Must be that time again.
Oh, I'll need my phone. Hang on.
Yeah, your phone or a tablet.
I've not received an email from you yet.
Have you not?
No. There's just loads of emails of me harassing the people who bought the kitchen off, saying that there's panels missing And then I found them today under the microwave and the toaster. I've been using them as a table for a month. I had to send Jacob an email saying, sorry, Jacob, I have found them.
Bloody hell.
They turned up under the cat. Oh, it went into spam.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, it went into my spam folder.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, look at this. Oh, brilliant. When you're opening these things from you, I never quite know. Oh, these look fantastic.
Are they just pictures? Right? Are they just pictures of rooms?
Just pictures of rooms. But,
right.
That doesn't give the full story, really, does it?
Well, I've got my clipboard with my questions as usual. Do you want to see what's on the back this week?
Is it Snoop Dogg holding a log?
No, it's
a terrapin falcon.
This guy's called Mr. Nibbins. I was thinking how what's she called? Beatrix Potter is kind of an untapped resource because when she passed away, that was the end of the stories. Whereas Walt Disney's been dead for best part of 60 years, and they've carried on bringing out new characters all the time under his banner. If I could persuade them to let me submit some new characters with the synopsis. The thing with Beatrix Potter is a lot of them were kind of cautionary tales. There was Squirrel Nutkin, he was just a lazy little shite, and the owl eventually ended up biting his tail off. Peter Rabbit, the moral of the story was don't go trespassing in people's gardens, especially when the farmer who lives there's already fucking eaten your dad.
Oh, yes, you have to watch constant Peter Rabbit with Rose.
Yeah.
And I always felt uneasy about how he wore a jacket and no pants or trousers.
That's Mr. Nibbins. He's just got a waistcoat on and a bow tie and fuck all else.
Has he got a galvanised thread screw?
It's a 60mm wood screw, yeah.
That's what it is.
It's his walking stick. But, they're all generally cautionary tales, apart from Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, who's the sort of gentle hedgehog washerwoman. They're all sort of cautionary tales.
And what would
Mr. Nibbins? Oh, yeah. He's a bigamist. He's a bigamist, and he's wanted for questioning by Cumbria Constabulary about 60 counts of confidence fraud.
Is a bigamist someone that constantly remarries?
Yeah.
Well, he's a good-looking guy, isn't he? Let me know how your pitch to the Beatrix Potter Foundation goes.
Yeah, well, it's early days. It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. I've got a brilliant idea for one that's a jellyfish. Anyway, quiz time. And this month, Our quiz is called Carol's Decking.
As in, like a play on words with Carol Decker, the lead singer.
This is it, you see. You and I might know Carol Decker as the woman who invented rap, and of course...
Yeah, of course we do.
And of course, the singer in supergroup T-Pow. But did you know she's also one of the country's leading hard flooring experts?
Which is strange because a big hit was China in Your Hand.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, she went over to hard floorings in 1999. Before that, she had a soft vinyl floor coverings company called Lino in Your Hand. But she realised all the money was in hard flooring, you see, and over she went.
Schoolboy error, isn't it?
Yeah. Carol's Decking offer the UK's largest selection of laminate, hardwood and decking surfaces with prices for all budgets. And she's been asked to calculate for 6 quotes for venues across England.
Right.
Obviously, her surfaces that she offers vary in price and stuff. So let's say for this, just for the purpose of this, that she's doing each of the venues in exactly the same hard-wearing laminate. So we've got 6 venues with the floor area, but whose would be cheapest to cover and whose would be most expensive?
Oh, okay.
So we have, I think first on your list there is it Barrow Infernus Forum Theatre?
That's it, Riddle or Rydale?
The Rydal Room. I know.
Is that in Barrow?
Yeah. It's
that looks quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is a small room. You might have it for a local group of paranormal enthusiasts or homebrew makers or something.
It looks like it's got an elevated coffin in the far corner.
Yeah, it's not the main auditorium.
It's been nailed to the wall.
But you know what you think of, don't you? When you think of Barrow Forum Theatre, what do you think of? Legionnaire's disease. In 2002, there was a deadly outbreak of Legionnaire's disease from Barrow's Forum Theatre.
What's that?
Yeah, there's a pathway down the side that leads to the markets around the back. And people were walking down for weeks, kind of amused at this green gas coming out of one of the vents, thinking, oh, that's strange. Anyway, off to the bus. Yeah, about 170 people got it, and I think 6 or 7 people died. It was pretty bad, joking aside. Because
usually Legionnaire's disease is to do with sort of holding water, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was bacteria being pumped out of this dodgy air conditioning vent.
Fucking hell.
Pretty bad, made the news and everything.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it, yeah.
Apart from that, it's mostly kind of amateur dramatics. You'll get someone who used to be in a band in the 80s coming to do his solo show there, that kind of thing. Got some reviews. Gail said 1 star, not been here in years. Sounds like someone with a grudge to me.
Is that a retro?
Someone didn't get a roll in the panto at Christmas.
Is she disappointed because of the time that's surpassed and she's not been there? So she's only given it 1 star. Or is it a retrospective 1 star?
It just feels almost cruel, that, doesn't it? Move on. Someone else said...
I've not been for ages. 1 star.
Someone said they watched Hunchback, performed by Abbey Musicals, and said there were plenty of toilets.
Oh, well,
Useful. Barbara said she wanted a simple chocolate bar or piece of cake as they were gluten sensitive. That sounds to me like they didn't want a simple chocolate bar or a piece of cake. They wanted a specialist chocolate bar or a specialist piece of cake. But everything had gluten in. All chocolate bars were biscuit bars. But she was able to have a bag of crisps, so she didn't go hungry. A little bit of background on the Forum Theatre there.
Right, well, I'm just tying up the metre, the square metre.
Yeah, we're gonna go by square metres on everything.
So, where do you want me to put this in the list of 6?
No, I think you just keep the space in your head, and we'll talk a bit about the next one. What's next on your PDF? What's the next one down?
Walsall Arena.
Or the Horbush Room, which is, again, it's what they call a meeting room. I'm assuming it's an AA meeting room. It says... Parking and crime very bad, was one review.
Right.
The parking wardens and CCTV finds cameras killed of the place just full crime. That's just a fucking word casserole, isn't it? Obviously a local reviewer there. Great for aspiring dancers and singers of all ages. So if you want to go and see someone who wants to be a singer, or you want to go and watch someone who wants to be a dancer, sounds like
that's your place.
That's your place.
Because it was the first review that didn't mention crime, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
well, they go on to mention crime, to be fair. The only downside is it's right in the middle of a mutant estate which resembles the film Escape from New York. Yeah, that's Walsall Arena.
I'm quite familiar with certain parts of Walsall, and I could verify that. Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Horbush Room?
No. I've always been worried about the crime. So
you leave the car running, wouldn't you? You just charge in, shout, "I'm Ben, I'm an alcoholic," and then wave them goodbye and keep the engine running.
Taxi.
Yeah. What's next down on your list?
Dudley Town Hall.
Oh, Dudley Town Hall. Now, this is a proper venue, there's some quality acts.
Yeah.
Almost everybody in the reviews complained about the seating, but I think last year they redid the whole place and have replaced the seating, so that seems to have been sorted out. Local people of Dudley, give yourself a round of applause for that. That's your community in action. Everyone bitched about it and they sorted it out.
Brilliant.
So now people are free to enjoy in comfort such delights as an evening with Jeff Hurst.
The footballer.
Yeah, footballer. Most Haunted, presented by Yvette Fielding.
Oh, and is Derek Pecora still alive?
No, he died a few years ago, but that shouldn't mean that he shouldn't be able to be in the show. Not wrong.
That should make
Not wrong, am I?
More part of the show, isn't it? Yeah.
Craig Morris, An Evening of Mediumship.
Oh,
that's the Craig Morris, the original. How they haven't got that and combined it with Most Haunted.
Yeah, they should have.
Double header.
He's got a real showbiz name, hasn't he, as well, Craig Morris?
Craig Morris. It's like that guy. Do you remember that poster I sent you at college? The the magician from Barrow, Terry Foster.
Terry Foster, yeah.
And his World of the Unlikely. The Upbeat Beatles are another show that's coming on, but I'm knocking points off them because they should have just called themselves the Up Beatles.
Yeah, it's too long-winded, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the same on. I hate stuff like that displays an obvious lack of humour. There's a series on Netflix called Chimp Empire that they should have just called Chimpire. There's a show, this puzzled me, there's a show on called Luther with Harry Cambridge, and the guy looks absolutely nothing like Idris Elba. But it's described as Luther, all the hits.
Luther Vandross.
Was it a different Luther?
Luther Vandross, isn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense now.
It's a good job you didn't point it.
All the hits. I nearly booked that as well. Last but not least, Jim Davidson.
Oh, brilliant.
Which, to be fair, that's a good-sized gig for Jim Davidson these days.
Yeah, they'll appreciate him in Dudley. They'll see him as a forward-thinking pioneer.
So yeah, study picture of Dudley Town Hall. That's.
I've already made a note of my estimated square meterage.
What's next down on your list?
Bayleaf Manor, Slough.
Bayleaf Manor, Slough, ladies and gentlemen, the only one I've had to change the name of this month because the reviews are so hilariously bad. It just flashed through my head for a second that there might be legal or violent ramifications.
Yeah, you don't want people from Slough after you, do you?
It's the main hall room on the ground floor. Let's see some of the reviews. The staff are so rude. They always bang on your door while you're sleeping.
And say what?
No, then they
get up. It's time to check out. It's 11 o'clock, you lazy bastard.
No, they bang on your door and they run off. You should see the state and the smell of the rooms, and you should also get informed about the place being haunted.
Right.
Genuine review that someone's put. Google reviews. Lights in the rooms, once you turn them on, you can't then turn them off.
What was it?
Someone was refused check-in because their toddler didn't have ID. I don't know what form of ID was... They were asking, how old do you have to be to have a passport?
It sounds like the best hotel ever. You can't turn the lights off when you turn them on, and your toddlers need ID.
Toddlers need ID.
Haunted. Sounds like a tourist attraction.
Well, the main complaint from people was that the pictures on the website are not of the hotel that you'll be staying in. It's actually a place around the corner. And finally, someone compared it to the movie Saw. So yeah, Bayleaf Manor there.
But in the picture, there's loads of people having a great time, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's because they can't chuck them out.
Just not at Bayleaf Manor.
Yeah. They can't chuck them out because they can't turn the fucking lights off. So they can't say, come on, time to go. Toddler needs ID. Fucking hell.
What's next down?
Prestige Ballroom, Smethwick. Oh, now this looks posh.
Prestige Ballroom, yeah. Everyone's generally quite positive about this. Not a bad place for a party or to hold a wedding function. It's a god-awful area. The area is such a dive, but the hall itself is nice and the staff are great. Had a wedding party here. The hall inside is lovely. It's on an industrial estate, so if you walk in blindfolded, you can't go wrong. Very good hall, but very less space for parking.
Oh, parking really winds people up, doesn't it?
Dining area is not that much area. Let's see if you can pick this apart with me and get to the bottom of it. If the hall is full, need to take turns in dining.
That's... I have to send that to Bletchley Palace, where they decoded...
the Enigma machine.
Yeah.
If the hall is full, need to take turns in dining. Does that mean one person at a time, one plate at a time, or one forkful at a time? One other person. The only suggestion I have is that it would be nice if the venue could have a rooftop garden. I think, well, I'm sure if you'd have mentioned that to them, they'd have just popped one on for you.
Yeah, but as soon as you got a rooftop garden, they'd say, with views overlooking an industrial estate in the Black Country. Yeah. So,
it'd be nice if it was somewhere else.
Rooftop garden that overlooked Kent.
So we should just have one left now.
It's the old Wet Wang down at the bottom.
Wet Wang Village Hall.
Right.
Wet Wang is in Driffield, which is just past York.
Right.
And it looks like the kind of hall that you might have a local sporting event or perhaps a big jam sale or something.
Yeah, it looks like a PE hall, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now then, for the reviews, there's a chap called Jeremy, and you read Jeremy's review, and he's so pleased with himself. And by the end of his review, you think, I'm going to look at some other of Jeremy's reviews, and you realise that all these other reviews are in America. So Jeremy's essentially found a list of amusing named places in the UK so that he could leave a review for one of them. Because about Wet Wang, he says, I've always enjoyed Wet Wang. There is nothing better than Wet Wang. I enjoy how well Wet Wang was landscaped. All the bushes looked really nice and neat. So I think we can all say, well done, Jeremy, for that. Right, so that's your 6. Do you want to go high to low, or do you want to go low to high?
I'm going to go high to low, I think.
Okay, go with what you think is the highest.
I'm going to say the one in Dudley is the biggest.
Ooh, okay.
And then I'm going to say, it was a bit, I'd got them joined, the one at Barrow and the one at Smethwick, but looking at Barrow, it seems a bit small. So I'm going to go for the one at Smethwick next. Then I'm going to go for Barrow. I'm going to go Dudley, then Smethwick, then Barrow, and then Wet Wang.
Wet Wang 4th.
Yeah, then Walsall 5, and the one that we didn't actually have a picture of, Slough 6.
Yeah, you've got 2 out of 6 there.
Oh, that's better than I thought.
Biggest of them all. In fact, I'm going to start with the smallest. Smallest is Horbush Room, which is 66 square metres.
Where was that one?
Walsall Arena.
Oh, yeah.
Next up in size is Wet Wang Village Hall with 136 square metres. You got that right.
Oh, okay.
Second from the bottom. You should have had that. Yeah. Next up was Barrow Forum Rydal Room. That was 230 square metres.
Yeah.
Next up was Dudley Town Hall, which is 432 metres.
Oh, I had that top. Picture's deceiving, isn't it?
I know. Next up was Bayleaf Manor, Slough, which is 504 square metres.
Ah, you see, that's an unknown, wasn't it, that?
Yeah. Which means right at the very top is Prestige Ballroom, Smethwick.
Oh.
Which is a whopping 990 square metres.
Fucking hell. The picture looks about as big as the garage, doesn't it?
Well, so that's actually the size of 2 basketball courts.
You see in the picture, it's got 3 tables. unless they're really big fucking tables.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't deliberately go for deceiving photographs, but some of them just didn't really have much, so...
Oh, it's all right. There's 60 people around each table.
So that's the quiz for this month.
Brilliant.
Thanks to Carol Decker for that. She's all right, Carol Decker. She doesn't like Gary Barlow, so she's all right in my book.
I'm just waiting for him to fucking release a song about how sad he is that the Queen died. That's going to be next, isn't it?
But anyway, we don't do this. we're better than this.
So, Only Murders in the Building is on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. That's where I watched it. It stars Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez, who live in an apartment block in New York. And there is a murder of a young man called Tim Kono in the building. And Martin Short's character and Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, they meet sort of accidentally during a fire alarm when this murder happens, and they're all massive fans of a true crime podcast. And once they discover that the murder has happened in their own building, they decide to set up their own podcast and between them work out who has committed the murder in their building. Now, Martin Short and Steve Martin were together in a film called The Three Amigos years ago, weren't they, with Chevy Chase?
Yeah.
And they both play. Steve Martin plays like this old aging actor, and Martin Short plays this sort of theatre director.
Theatre darling.
And they're just brilliant characters. And then, you could the chemistry between them is just brilliant. And then bring into the mix a young Selena Gomez. And she adds this there's lots of sort of good jokes about the difference between being old and being young, and some of it's genuinely really funny. And the chemistry, especially between her and Steve Martin, is really good. And there's about 10 of them, about half an hour long, and it also gets almost as addictive as people get about real crime podcasts in a way, don't they? You know, and it's very sort of classy. They each have. I looked at the credits right at the end. They each have, like, Steve Martin helped write it, and then Martin Short and Selena Gomez helped produce and direct it as well.
Yeah, so Steve Martin and a guy called John Hoffman wrote it together. And like you said, they did the Three Amigos, but they had crossovers in a few different things in the 80s, didn't they? Steve Martin, Martin Short, and a couple of others that all appeared in similar types of films. I sort of liked about half of them, I think. But the thing that's good about this is you don't realise till you start watching this, do you, that you like it more than you used to.
Yeah, definitely.
But what it does make you think when you watch this is how thin sitcoms seem to feel at the moment. You watch this and it's got kind of a richness to it, almost like Frasier or something like that. You know, it's not one of these things where everyone's just sitting in the living room talking bollocks to each other, and it just feels very, very thin and artificial. And this feels like but it feels fleshed out, doesn't it? It doesn't feel sort of disposable.
Yeah, it does feel rich. And of course, it's got Mr. Guest Sting in as well, which always helps, doesn't it?
Have you got past that line I told you about in the lift with his dog?
Yeah, I've watched the whole of the first series.
Oh, you watched a lot, haven't you?
Which is totally sort of new territory for me, you see, because I never usually make it past episode 3.
Yeah.
But I really like this. Watch the whole first series, and the sort of little half an hour, versions of it helps as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're just kind of bite size, aren't they? The second series is good as well. Is it all on?
Yeah, it's all on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But I'm surprised they got Selena Gomez to agree to it as well, because imagine like her agent being contacted. Do you want to be in this sort of? It's like a real life podcast series. It's got 2 really old aging actors in. They're completely uncool, and we want you to be the cool young one in it. You think it's really good that she agreed to it.
Well, it speaks to me that she's very switched on, and she's read it, and she's thought, this could be something really fucking good, this.
Yeah.
And, she's right, and she's great in it as well. I've not seen her in anything else, but...
Yeah, Martin Short really steals the...
his comedy timing's just brilliant. Well, the second one was really good as well, and it gets to the end of the second series. The last shot of series 2, it went to a stage show, a theatre production of something going on, and the actors turn around to the camera, and it's Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep.
Oh, I'd heard that they were in it. Are they making a third series as well?
Yeah, it's done. It's coming out in a month or 2.
Oh, right.
So... Well, I'm assuming the pace you're going through them, you'll probably be ready for it by the time it comes out.
Yeah, sound.
But yeah, it's brilliant. It's about as good as sitcoms get these days, and that's probably because it doesn't feel like a modern one. Oh, there goes the... is that the toilet flushing again?
It could be. No, the toilet flushes down into the garage, down a pipe, not just...
Oh, yeah, you said you're going to box it in, didn't you? So that's Only Murders in the Building, and that's on Disney Plus, is it called?
Disney Plus, yeah.
So that's TV covered, so it must now be time for Ben's extension.
Well, we're coming to the end of Ben's extension, because the extension is now built, and it came to a point where I had to invite building control back.
Oh yeah, the inspectors.
My good friends at Walsall Council. And the last time they came out to inspect it, it was just a concrete slab on the floor. And then the third stage is when it's actually up, but you've not put any plaster on.
Yeah.
And you've not got any electrics in. It's just called pre-plaster. But it's a long haul from just a concrete slab up to effectively sitting and...
Oh, yeah. If they then turn around and say, that's no good, you've done a lot since the last time it was checked.
Yeah. So I submitted my own plans, which I was advised not to, that you had to get an architect to do. I didn't involve a structural engineer, which I was advised, not by them, but by the people that I should. So when she came, it was a lady that had come before, a young lady that had come before.
Yeah.
Like, there was a total chance that she could turn round and tell me that everything I'd done was fucking shit and I'd have to pull large parts of it down. So I thought I'd have to sort of manipulate the environment to my advantage.
Got her drunk. Come on in, do you want some cider?
So I booked her in for a Friday because psychologically I know that people are more agreeable.
Can't wait to get home.
Friday. Yeah, because they're already thinking about the weekend.
Yeah.
I also consulted the weather report and made sure I happened to get a very nice hot Friday. So when she turned up, it was blue sky, white.
So she could see all the flies.
Yeah. So she could inspect the insect zoo. So Friday, nice sunny day. I, tidied up in the extension, made it all look nice, hoovered. And I brought down some of Rosie's teddies, some particularly large monkeys with smiles on the face, and positioned them on the sofa as well. I might as well have had the clocks all set at 10 to 2. The way they do in showrooms. So the clocks look like a smiley face. So
baked
I thought,
a load of bread as well.
Yeah, greeted her in an apron. Set everything to my advantage, and lo and behold, she came in and she had a look round and she gave it the okay and the all clear and signed it off. So, was it the smiling monkey or was it my, high standards of building work? We'll never really know.
We'll never know, but that's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then everything was fine.
So it was more the setup of the situation, really, this week. And, she gave it the all clear. So I'm on to fitting a new kitchen now.
Oh.
Which is what I've been doing today.
How's that going? You got far with it?
Oh, tough. Just tough. I never fitted a kitchen before. It is hard work, and it's like anything routine. Once you've done one and you've got an idea of what the first one was like, then you can you've got something to build off then. But I've been sort of mulling it over for weeks about how I'm going to do it, and sometimes you just got to start making mistakes and learn from them, and then you can sort of work your way around the room. But it's all getting the spacings right with the electrics and all the rest of it. And we've got the worktop people coming next week as well. So, it's all right. Been doing this house now for 2 years, and I just want to walk through the door and it all be done.
Yeah.
But we've had like a tabletop oven. It's been like we've been camping for 2 years because we've not had a proper oven. So once we've got the proper oven in and some worktops, it will start to feel already
like a home again.
Like we've got a kitchen again, yeah.
You're going for anything exciting in your worktops? Bit of granite or a bit of marble?
Oh, quartz.
Quartz, like the clocks.
There's a theory, isn't there, with quartz that it can store energy, and that's where ghosts come from. Did you know that?
Have you been on that roofing glue again?
Castles and churches and historic buildings, there's an element of quartz in a lot of the sandstone, limestone and the granites and so on.
Aye.
Now, this is a bit I don't understand. I perhaps should have researched this before I started talking about it.
No. Go for it, man.
But quartz is used it's used to record information, isn't it? They use quartz in watches, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's a natural mineral, isn't it? There is a quartz watch, isn't there?
Yeah.
So there's these theories that if something of high emotion happens near quartz, like a murder, for example, or someone dying, then quartz acts as soaks up this information and then re-releases it. And that's why I've heard that, like ghosts walk particular routes at particular times. A lady might be seen walking down a corridor holding a candle. She'll turn right at the end, and this happens every night. And it's this sort of release of energy and information, and that's where ghosts come from. But I'm aware that there's a good chance she'll edit this out.
I'm just liking the idea that someone's been committing murders and the police come round and say, we've got you banged to rights, and it says, What gave it away? Did you catch me on CCTV? He said, no, we captured it all on the worktop.
We've interviewed the court. Yeah. It's funny, though, because I did look up this theory and I couldn't find anything in the internet about it.
That's weird, isn't it? Sometimes the internet, for such a big fancy thing, it's missing absolutely vital information like that.
Yeah. So next time you're in a historic building and you're thinking of committing murder, don't.
Or confessing to something even.
Yeah, the courts could store it and then release it.
Well, we were talking earlier, what we were saying that, once the kitchen's in, we're actually going to leave you alone and bring an end to Ben's extension. And you suggested we might start doing a monthly alcohol review.
Yeah, I think so, because it's a subject that I believe that me and you have some knowledge in.
Yeah.
Starting out with how when we used to drink cooking sherry at college.
Yeah, and then making our own. I think you were more of an expert on the manufacture of alcohol than me, but we've both done it.
I used to have 2 on the go at college. I used to have in the cupboards making my own homebrew. And you did one up at the lodge as well, didn't you? But
if we can get ourselves around the home bargains and the B&Ms and the Lidls and the Aldis, and if we can find something that looks interesting, kind of low grade stuff. We've got lots of nice booze in, but there's no point in us both getting a bottle of something dear.
No, you need something that's weird and cheap from B&M and warm off the shelf.
Yeah, we'll get on that at some point, and we'll have a crack at it. Right, I think that's us done for another month.
Brilliant.
I'm going to make a big pile of chips and put a film on, I think, while Karen's away.
Yeah, sound.
Cool.
Right.
Nice as always. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
See you later.